Thank you, Amos. I forgot to present myself. Oded Eran, former diplomat, currently a senior researcher at the INSS. And what?
A banker.
No, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. There is another Oded Eran who is a banker. Unfortunately, I am not.
Salary was. So far.
Yeah. Before I call upon the next speaker, I'm also very grateful to our partners in organizing this event, the American Jewish Committee. We have with us both Nissim Reuven and Mr. Isaacson, who is the executive director? Almost. The Minister of Foreign Affairs at the American Jewish Committee. And as Amos Yadlin mentioned, in diaspora, it is a very interesting organization because it shows another common characteristic, and that is the Jewish or Indian diaspora in the United States is a key element in our security, strategic security. And I apologize for the absence of the ambassador of India. He will come later, but I don't envy him this week. Having to deal with the Prime Minister. As a former diplomat, I was in the same situation. It's a pleasure to have your Prime Minister, but it's a big headache. So I don't blame him for not showing up for the beginning of this event. Now I call upon Stanley Bergman, who is the chairman of Schein Incorporation. Please.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Stan Bergman. I'm the CEO of Schein. I'm not a banker. I'm not a diplomat. I'm not a former general. My company is the largest provider of healthcare products to dentists, to veterinarians, and to medical doctors outside of the hospital. I've been involved personally with Jason Isaacson, who I'll introduce in a minute, in India matters, India-US matters, India-Israel matters, for over 20 years. AJC does a lot of work in fostering relations between the United States, Israel, and a number of countries around the world, including and specifically India, where we have a deep commitment for many, many years in advancing the relationship between three great democracies. We are pleased to be the co-sponsor of today's program, along with INSS, Indiaspora, and the Global Indian Jewish Relations Institute. And of course, thank you, General Yadlin, for hosting us. Mr. Rangwasamy, thank you. And Dr. Barai, who I think is on the way. AJC India activities have been driven by Jason Isaacson, AJC's Director of Government and International Affairs, even before the relationship between India and Israel was formalized 25 years ago. Jason has been an avid advocate of this relationship of Israel, India, and of course the third part of the triangle, the United States. And Jason, thank you for your commitment to this relationship, which of course is at a terrific place today but didn't really start this way. It began slowly, and Jason has been advocating for this relationship for well over a quarter century. Jason's partner is Nissim Rubin, who is the director of AJC's Asia Pacific Institute, who is, I have to say, one of India's biggest friends in the United States and in Israel. Nissim is always looking for a way to connect Israelis, Indians, and Americans, whether it is in the government relations area, and more important, on the people-to-people side, and actually connecting the two diasporas in a warm and unique way. Obviously, I think we all know that the Prime Minister's dynamic and forward-looking leadership has been instrumental in advancing India from a not only political point of view, but from an economic point of view. And it is clear, at least from where I sit, that India is really open for business. In my particular business, the taxes issue, the sales tax issue, the national sales tax issue was a big challenge. I personally met with the Prime Minister at the forum, the Fortune Forum in New York, I think it was 18 months ago, and he committed to get the law passed. I believe the law has been passed, but is now going to be implemented. This will make India much more competitive and will invite many business people from companies like mine into India to conduct business. The partnership with the Indian American friends, including Mr. Rangaswamy and Dr. Baraya, has been deep and goes deep into the relationship with legislatures in the United States, and specifically on Capitol Hill. We have been advocating as AJC bipartisan relationships, that is, relationships between India, Israel, and all the parties in the United States, advancing strategic, economic, academic, and cultural relationships. And this has been very, very successful. And I think the seminal event was the event that AJC, the American Jewish Committee, advanced, which was the India-US Civil Nuclear Agreement of 2008. I think this laid the foundation for the trust between the United States and India, and AJC served alongside the Indian diaspora in advancing this agreement. AJC's partnership with FICCI, Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, has been a long-standing partnership, and we thank our partners at FICCI for this terrific relationship. I fondly recall hosting FICCI in my home in 2015, and we hosted FICCI, of course, on Capitol Hill. That's with senators and congressmen last year in 2016. AJC has a part of the organization called Project Interchange. What Project Interchange does, it brings groups of foreigners to Israel who we encourage to take a look at Israel from close. It's known as a people-to-people exchange, and AJC's Project Interchange Institute has brought many Indians, people from India, but also people from the Indian American diaspora to Israel. And of course, Project Interchange frequently makes a stop here at INSS and meets with General Yadlin and others. The most distinguished alumni of Project Interchange is India's current National Security Advisor, Mr. Ajit Doval, who came in 2013 as a Project Interchange guest. Two of our speakers in today's program have participated in Project Interchange: Dr. Tanvi Madan, the Director of India Project at the Brookings Institute in Washington, and Mr. Shivnath Tukral, Managing Director of Carnegie India in New Delhi. So, on the diplomatic side, AJC regularly hosts senior Indian government officials. We meet regularly whenever the Prime Minister of India comes to the United States, specifically around the opening of the UN, which is usually the end of September or early October. And we, of course, regularly meet the External Affairs Minister and the Foreign Secretary all around the UN General Assembly. Several of these ministers actually have been speakers at the AJC Global Forum in Washington. There are two highly sought invitations around Hanukkah in Washington. The first is the White House Hanukkah party, and the second is the Indian ambassador's Hanukkah party in Washington, which I would say is even a more jovial event. And it was AJC, through Nissim, working with Jason, that facilitated that particular Hanukkah party that occurs every year, and it really is a warm event where the two communities come together, the two diasporas, in the residence of the Indian ambassador to Washington. The relationship between AJC and the Indian diaspora in the United States is a very, very deep relationship. And through that, we have also advanced relationships between the Jewish community in the United States, Israel, and the Jewish community in India, including the vibrant community in Prime Minister Modi's state, Gujarat. Nissim is deeply involved in that. And that led to an initiative to ensure that the repair and preservation of the Jewish synagogues and heritage sites are undertaken in a serious way. At AJC, we deeply appreciate the Maharashtra's State Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, who officially recognized as minority status the Indian Jewish community. That is something that's very meaningful to us, and I hope our Indian friends will communicate that back to our friends in India. AJC is now working with United Hatzlacha emergency management experts to advance the AmbuCycle program in India. This is a remarkable program. It's known by many Israelis as the Uber of ambulances, and the goal is to bring that to India. So I thank you all for coming here today. AJC is very, very interested in advancing areas of collaboration between India and Israel on the agriculture, water, defense, technology, and medicine side. And we are committed to advancing the trilateral relationships in any way we can between India, Israel, and the United States. AJC does have a representative on the ground in India, Arjun Hardas, who works closely with Nissim and Jason. So if there's anyone that would like to work on a multitude of opportunities that we may have advancing the relationship between the three countries, we welcome that. Jason and Nissim will be here the whole day and would be happy to help in any way advance the relationship between the three countries. So thank you very much for being here.